Waiting on Instagram to go live. Come on. Shimon. Come on, Shimon. There we go, baby. Oh, yeah. Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is episode 42 of the Swift and SwiftUI Learnalong. I am your host, Senor Oat, aka Nico, aka Nick, aka Slim Chicken. Now, quick intro for the uninitiated. This is a stream where I read to you programming books. Well, a programming book, a very specific one. In this case, the Swift Programming Big Nerd Range Guide 7th edition. Great book. So we've worked all the way through this book. At this point, we're on the tail end. But if you've not caught any of the prior episodes, it's all been streamed. So if you go to, well, I think YouTube is the only place I can guarantee. So if you're seeing this not on YouTube, you can peep the stream isn't actually ending, but on the screen, Nico narration, see that there? Well, the folks that see it on the portrait folks won't see it, but too bad. But anyway, if you want to catch up on the stream, it's all there. So all of the past streams are there. It's a lot of content. It's probably been roughly 3 hours per stream, and we're 42 episodes in, so you can do the math, but it's all there. So it's been a great run. We've learned a lot, still a ton to learn, but that's the idea. So I'm effectively teaching myself, and then hopefully by virtue of streaming the process, indirectly helping teach others that want to learn along with this whole process. So prior to starting this book, I had some programming experience, but never a full-blown general purpose language like Swift. So from that aspect of it, I think it's a bit different because this is like real nitty-gritty learning, brother. Not like fluff 15-minute YouTube tutorial kind of a thing. So if you're into that, that's how we get down here, brother. But this isn't really a an influencer thing where I'm trying to show you all the hottest, latest shit. Instead, this is more of a self-serving, more of a selfish thing. Well, I guess you could argue the other way is selfish too, but my intention here is to teach myself Swift after we get through this book. So we're on page 704 of an 818-page book, right? So we're on the tail end now. And then after this, we're going to roll straight into a SwiftUI course, which SwiftUI is Apple's most recent framework purely in Swift for writing GUIs or GUIs, graphical user interfaces. So that should be fun. Although, I mean, learning Swift has been fun, but there's been a lot of complicated stuff, and obviously there's not as much happening graphically, so it can be hard to kind of grasp sometimes what some of the stuff is even meant for, I mean, even for me. So we talk through all that stuff. I ask myself questions. I speak out into the ether, blah, blah, blah. But that's the general consensus. So after we get through SwiftUI, then we'll do some actual app design because I did start a company, so I fully intend to actually build the app on stream as well. So this is all towards me building up my startup and the first product that will belong to the startup, which will be called MRP Panda. And that will be essentially any potential prospect is going to be any business that has an ERP system with a SQL backend and has physical inventory. Because the problem I'm trying to solve is specific to MRP, material resource planning. And we can get more into that later about what that is, what that means. But just know that I have very specific problems I'm trying to solve based off the 10 years I worked for a service company. We supported an ERP and also had an in-house product, a manufacturing product that, food distributors, effectively anybody that's subject to FSMA. If you're unaware of what FSMA is, it's the Food Safety Modernization Act. It's passed in 2008 by President Obama. And that spawned a whole sub-industry within software because it introduced the requirement for food manufacturers to have traceability. Some people call it, farm to fork. We called it cradle to grave, but effectively You just have to know, based off of a unique lot number, when, where, how things were used, when it showed up, how much you bought, what lot it was on, what pallet was on, what bins it passed through, what locations in your warehouse. If you scrapped any of it, that needs to be logged. If you used some of it, if you used a spice, let's say it's just pepper, and you make hot sauce, well, you got to know every single batch that was split into. In the event of a recall, you got to be able to bring it all back, and you got to be able to bring it all back within the span of 4 hours. In terms of, not bring it all back. You got to be able to generate complete paper trails within a span of 4 hours, should you get audited, or in the event of an actual recall. So, or they can just shut you down, plain and simple. So there's a lot of pressure on food manufacturers and distributors in that sense. But at this point, I mean, the software is caught up, and it's the traceability aspect of it, I believe, is fairly well solved, because we did that portion of it really well. But there's a whole other host of issues that come with that when it comes to managing inventory in general. So that's the general idea. Okay, so that's what we're going to design after we do SwiftUI. So we're going to work on the applications, SQL backend for the local storage, and also the a REST API for the web server. After that, and because that won't take too long, I don't want to spend too much time on it, then we're going to roll back into the books. So it'll be another Big Nerd Ranch guide, great books. But the next book will be specific to iOS programming, as opposed to a deep dive into the Swift programming language itself. Swift, of course, having much wider applicability than just iOS apps. So that is the plan for this stream, this channel, whatever the hell you want to call it, for the next good long while. So if you dig that, then shut up and listen. No, I'm playing, but that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so now yesterday, a recap for yesterday. What did we do yesterday? Yesterday we started on a portion of this CLI application. It was pretty straightforward, although, yeah, no, I'm trying to think, if looking at the code here, nothing really was woefully confusing. It's all stuff that we've covered before. So I think I would just pick up where we left off instead of talking through each thing, because this is, at this point, we're not really learning new things. We're applying what we've already learned. And that's just going to continue. So we might as well just, tally ho and move forward. Okay, so parsing command line arguments with argument parser. Yeah. The idea of importing frameworks is not new to you. You learned a little bit about the foundation framework while working on the Monster Town project in chapter 15. As you continue your Swift development career, you will encounter lots of frameworks that can offer you, man, somebody's running a fucking generator or what? A motorcycle right outside the fucking window. Every fucking time. It doesn't matter what time I start the stream. I've tried all the slots, brother. There's just, okay. Yeah, that, I can see why people move out to the mountains. Okay, anyway, the next feature that you will add to Word Lasso will use the argument parser framework, an open source framework developed by Apple. Okay, argument parser does not ship as part of Xcode like Foundation does. So you will need to download the framework and add it to your project before you can import it in a file and start using it. You will do this with the Xcode package manager. Okay, awesome. So this is a big deal. Not necessarily what we just read, but just this whole step, because I can tell you that, like, I don't even like to mention that I know Python, seriously, because, and it sounds cocky to say, it's not meant to sound cocky at all, but because there's so many jobs out there for it. But I'm going to be honest with you, writing Python fucking sucks. It sucks. And it really has very little to do with the language, although I'm not a fan of, in Python. Like, let me just show you guys. So this code we wrote, right? If we, let me just show you what Python looks like. If you don't know, it looks nice. At a glance, it looks very nice. So this isn't a matter of syntax per se, but I just want to give you a feel for it. So the main difference to observe is that Python itself, from a syntax perspective, doesn't use these, see little braces there, little side braces. These are used for scope in lots of programming languages, predominantly used in programming languages to define scope. Python uses indentation for scope. So instead of the curly braces, you just indent. And so you see those indentation lines. That's what indicates scope in Python. And so while that's nice for writing a script or whatever, in a, I guess what you quickly, holding up my air quotes, it gets to become really hairy once you get a decent sized application going. So if you've ever used YAML, it's the same problem. Like it's like fucking tracing the which scope. So that part I already don't like, but that's not enough to not use the language, because there are tools that they're pretty good now at handling that for you, right? Not to mention AI. I mean, think of all, there's just a fuck ton of Python out there. So the LLMs have a ton of training data on it. So it can throw down some pretty good Python. So that can be a plus if you're in a pinch and trying to get something done. But that is not a good enough reason to use it either, I would say. Plus, LLMs are just getting better. Now you can just download Ollama locally and train it on whatever the fuck you want. You could train it on Zig or, Odin, something that's not been out that long, and it can know everything about that language too. So, that's not a big thing. But the real problem, you can't even really see when you look at the syntax, because it has nothing to do with the syntax. The problem is this. This is the fucking problem. Anaconda. So this company, of no fault of their own per se, because they're doing something that they felt was needed, but this is just one piece of it. This is not a negative against Anaconda at all. Matter of fact, when I use Python, they're the distribution I use. But that's the problem, is that there's multiple distributions. There's this package manager where they have a whole bunch of popular Python packages, right? That you can pip install, or not pip install, but Mamba install, or whatever the fuck, whichever. This is all part of the problem. There's way too many package managers, and it's just hell working with dependencies. So there's PyPy, I think, is one. PyPy is a distribution where you can also get packages. Now, mind you, all of these that I'm bringing up are not, there's zero guarantee, and oftentimes it's said explicitly that the packages do not interact with each other. You can't pull something from Anaconda and fully expect it to just work with a PyPy package. And these aren't even the primary ones. These are not the main. What the hell is the main one called? Is it just pip? It's something, but the name of the, yeah, here it is. Oh, that is PyPy. Well, either way, it's fucking confusing. It's very confusing. And the problem is, a lot of Python, most people think of Python, or most people think of a lot of the work done in Python as Python, but it's really Python's libraries, like pandas. If you ever heard of pandas, they have the data frames. A lot of other libraries have it now, but this one's very popular. And it's a great library, don't get it twisted. But guess what? It ain't written in Python. And that's the joke, at least to me, is like, you're not really writing apps in Python. Anything of note that's going to be run in production, there's no shot you're running it only in Python. You have to pull in and wrap, C++ code or C code or Rust code or something that's more viable to actually, not cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars just to run a, web server in Python because it's fucking going over the moon. There's a bunch of different things that are really the issue, but the main thing for me was just the many package managers. Because once you fuck it up, if anyone's ever been into this issue, Python 2, Python 3, or 3.10, or this package works with 3.10, but this other package you need only works up to 3.8. You got to make a decision. And so you get into this terrible, twisted dependency hell, and it's just a bad time. Now, JavaScript isn't any better in that sense. It's getting better, but I actually think Python is a little bit worse because I think ES6 has cleaned up a lot of that stuff. Then again, I don't have to maintain old-ass JavaScript apps, so that could be just as bad. But it's the same kind of issue. I'm hoping that what we're about to see with Swift, I just hope it's not too convoluted, honestly, because I know nothing about how it handles packages or project setup and whatnot. One of the things I did like about Go is they just have it where you can hit any URL. You're not doing like a npm install like with JavaScript, or through the command line, through pip install, whatever. You're just hitting a URL. So you hit go get and then the actual URL direct to from GitHub or whatever, which is nice. We'll see what Swift does. I won't beat a dead horse, but just know that that's a serious pain point. So it can be a lot of your time, if you want to lean into those dynamic languages like JavaScript, Python, a lot of your time will be spent maintaining your build tools, keeping up with the latest standards, making your dependencies work between each other, finding the right, because sometimes what sucks too is there's not even a guarantee that a particular package, the same package, same project, is going to work the same across different distributions, and that's crazy. That's crazy to me. But they have to do that because they make these, they call them pie wheels. Or not pie wheels. They're just a wheel. I think it's just a wheel. But it's just like a tarball of Python libs, and it's incredible what they've done, but still, it's just a headache. Now, I don't like saying just negative shit straight up and moving on. So let me show you a really cool project that I know I'm all over the place, but brother, this is actually really cool, and I think it's probably the coolest thing that outside of Jupyter Notebooks. Yeah, that's heresy. Jupyter Notebooks have been a blessing, so I will say that, because they made that notebook style popular. So I need to give them credit for that. The Jupyter project is awesome if you've never heard of it. Jupyter Notebook. I actually prefer Jupyter Lab now, but any of it is fantastic. So you can run it in your browser, and it has this like cell style. Maybe I can open a quick one here. I mean, this is what I cut my teeth on for a long time, so I can't hate on it hard, but it's great for lighter work. You're not really writing full-blown apps in this, but to do some impress your boss, write a nice report, give a client a quick tool that's just going to work. This stuff is pretty cool. And if you know JavaScript or Python, you can do a lot. But so you just have this code, right? You just write your code in a cell, you run it, and then you get the output right beneath it, which of course you can do much more complicated code, but you get the picture. So these are cool. This is great, and it's a great way to learn. And the nice thing is there's a lot of what they call kernels. Like you see let me get this out of the way. See this thing over here in the top right? Pyodide, that's yet another distribution. Pyodide is the one with WASM, so it can run in the browser. But you can pick other kernels, like you see this kernel, JavaScript, P5 is a JavaScript library. But there's others, like there's a Scala kernel, there's Kotlin kernel. So you can write other languages inside of a Jupyter Notebook. And that's really cool. I wrote a lot of Go in a Go package that gives you a Jupyter Notebook interface, and Go is a compiled language, which was incredible. So actually, matter of fact, let me show you that real quick, because this is probably, yeah, here it is right here. It's called Go in B, G-O-N-B, from Jan P. Pfeiffer. Go in B, 449 stars. This thing is fucking awesome. Why? Because, well, for one, it's Go in a Jupyter Notebook. But what's incredible about it is other implementations before this weren't really, you weren't able to write full Go code. This one actually wraps every cell in a function for you. So you can just write Go as you normally would. There's a few different rules, like you don't have to write the func main because they do it for you in the background. But there's nothing that restricts you from writing Go outside of some maybe stylistic changes. But you get the full-blown help. And what's really incredible is this also comes with JavaScript, so you can write JavaScript in it, HTML, CSS. You can do things graphically. They've done a lot of awesome shit here. Like, this is an incredible project. You have e-charts built into it, embedded, Plotly. Like, if you're at all interested in Go, I think this is easily the most fun way to learn it. So I would highly recommend it. I used this tool for, I don't know, 6 months when I was writing those ETL jobs, and it was a godsend. So that's a big plus of Python, the fact that it gave us Jupyter notebooks. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is related to this. See that Jupyter Lite tag up there, up at the top? Jupyter Lite, you can look it up. It's a great little project. It's basically, it brought the Jupyter notebook to the front end. So it used to be that you could only have the Jupyter notebook thing that I'm interacting with. You had to run a web server. You know, you would run Python on your web server and then connect to it. Jupyter Lite, this is fully running just in the front end in the browser. Pretty sweet. Now the other thing, the last thing, PyScript. So this is pretty sick because if you had to choose, like in a world where JavaScript owns the browser, right, it's still the only language that can speak to the DOM directly, right? So when you're faced with that reality, I could understand wanting a native alternative, just because it's, you know, Python. I don't think there's much argument from a scripting perspective. It's much more enjoyable to write than, say, you know, JavaScript. And so what's neat about PyScript, actually, I think I still have an account. I'm such a sucker for a lot of these tools. I just think they're really cool, and I like, you know, support these guys. Why not? Drop in the bucket goes a long way. I don't remember it's probably Google. No. Oh, okay, it was... that didn't... Well, whatever. Examples, here we go. This is just as well. Okay, yeah, this is the same thing. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't remember which one I signed up with, but no, so this is all... You don't have to use this. PyScript it's a free download. It's open source. You can use it on your local. This site just lets you build it, and they host it, and so you're effectively writing, you know, with hot code reloading your application right here, side by side with the actual program. So if we run it, should work since it's their example. But that's pretty sick. I mean, you know, you can learn a lot just doing it this way because you can see in real time what the code is doing visually. So this is a really cool project if you want to learn about it, or just learn programming in general, or especially if you want to learn how to do like data-driven tools. This is an awesome project. Okay, so I just wanted to say something positive, so I'm not just being a negative Nancy, but on the whole, I hold my opinion that Python is dog shit for the reasons I said, but I say that affectionately and having experienced it, not just as a dude yelling out into the ether. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was a long-winded way of saying, let's see what you got, Swift, and I hope it's good. All right, so adding argument parser from Xcode file menu. Yep. Swift packages. Okay. This must be, can't be that old. But a lot of the examples have changed, or whatever they say I should see, I don't see. Let's Swift packages, probably just packages. Nope. Add dependency, probably that. And Okay, it looks like we're maybe there. Repository is a fancy name for a place where the source code of a project lives, especially if it is under control of a version control system such as Git. If you are unfamiliar with Git, do not worry. It is something that you can add to your goals list to research later. You will not need to know about it to complete this book. Yeah, Git is awesome. Good old Linus. Okay. In the package repository URL bar, enter the address of the Swift argument parser repository. And hopefully this is still live. Let's go see. Here. Cool. It is still there. Yeah, so okay, yeah, okay. All right, so let's do that then. So then what do you want me to do? Download the add. Oh, enter it right there. Okay. Why does it? I wish it wouldn't force me to. Bring all the Kindle shit with it. All right, here we go. The remote browser could not be accessed. Make sure a valid browser exists. Location. Correct credentials have been supplied. What? Oh, I took off my. No, just type it. I dropped the .git. You can't do that. .com. Apple Swift. Okay, there it is. Add package. But yeah, generally speaking, it's, at least from my view currently, I prefer the languages like, I think Go really, I'm not going to say it was the pioneer of it, but it's the first one that I know of that really gave you a lot in the standard library, such that you don't have to depend as much on third parties for things like a HTTP server, you know, or a parser or a ORM, stuff like that. SSH. Okay, wait, what am I'm talking too much. What are we doing? So click next to be asked to set and confirm some package options. Up to next major. Choose a package for Swift argument parser. Okay, I need you to tell me what to do with this one. I don't see this screen. Whatever version you're offered should be fine. Click next. Okay. Again, the default settings here are what you want. Click finish. So they're adding it as a library to Word Lasso. And that looks correct. Okay, add. And success. Oh, indexing, processing. Got a few, what do we got? That was never used. Oh, that's from writing, so that's has nothing to do with that. Package index, find packages failed, feature disabled. What? Failed. I guess I gotta enable that. That makes sense. Enable source control. For where, dude? We'll see. I mean, it said it built, so I guess we'll wait to troubleshoot that. Click finish. You will see a progress bar while Xcode downloads and adds argument parser to your project. When it is done, you will see Swift argument parser in the Xcode project navigator. Okay. Okay, it looks like it succeeded. There it is right there. Okay. Easy enough. Now it is time to put argument parser to work. Return to main Swift and import it. All right, brother, relax. Let's go. Shoot. I need to run to the men's room briefly. Oh, damn it. BRB in 5 minutes. Which would be, let's just call it 11:52. All right, be right back. I need to get some water too. Want to be a winner, you gotta fuel like a winner. Dwight Schrute. All right. Motherfucker. All right, brother. Damn. Nuts for days, brother. All right. So we're going to main.swift, yeah. Let me make this reasonable human size again. Okay. Just align this so my OCD doesn't flare up. Okay, there we go. All right. Now it's time to put it to work. Return to main Swift and import it. Yeah. So this importing thing, this is one of those things that you do see in a lot of, or this concept crosses over many languages too. So Go also had this whole concept of imports. Matter of fact, the only language I've tried that didn't have it was SQL, which makes sense given it's like a DSL really. But anyway, this is where we import it. So you got to do this at the top of the file. There's not many things that have that kind of rule around it, but in this case it does. You do your imports up top, import argument parser, yes. What's the difference here? Straightforward, type save. I don't know. All right. Kindle, Xcode, Kindle, there. All right, we imported that. Now you will see why you define word lasso as a struct. Okay. The argument parser framework defines a parsable command protocol, which requires a throwing method called run. The body of your program is, or is called by, code in this method. Right, which was, yeah, word lasso run. Word lasso run. Why do I have hiccups? Which is here. Or is called by, yeah. Argument parser defines a robust suite of types and property wrappers, which you learned about in chapter 26, I remember, to automatically parse command line arguments for you and store them. This fucking engine outside, dude, why? A suite of, okay, yeah. To automatically parse command line arguments for you and store them into properties of your parsable command conforming type. Okay. So the thing we just downloaded has protocols and functions that we want to use. Declare that word lasso conforms to parsable command. All right, which we know looks like exactly like a type annotation or declaration, except it is both a protocol and a type in this case. So parsable command. Okay. I guess it puts the third party and custom types in green and the Swift ones in pink. Because if I do like custom, or what's a Swift one? Like Swift dot error is a protocol, and that's in pink. Or custom string convert, yeah, okay. Yeah, that must be what it's doing. Okay. Just an observation. All right, so parsable command, we want it to conform. So that's how we read that out. If it's a protocol, we're saying that this conforms to, we're saying that the type that we created, word lasso struct, conforms to this protocol from the library we imported. Parsable command, wait. Declare that word lasso conformed. Okay, we did that. Parsable command has a protocol extension that adds a free static main method to parse your command line arguments and call your run function for you. Okay. It adds a free static. Okay, so through an extension, that's what that protocol does. Replace the manual execution of your run function with a call to main instead. Oh, get rid of my do catch. Okay, brother. Get rid of this. Word lasso main. Notice that this is now your only top line. Wait. Notice that this is now your only line of top level code in the entire program. Calling main on word lasso kicks off everything else your program does. Oh, okay, yeah. Modern iOS and macOS apps have surprisingly little top level code. Okay. I guess, I mean, that's just a way of saying what? I think that speaks more to convention than anything, but we'll find out. So build and run your program in Xcode's console. Everything should work just as it did before. Adding argument parser to your project. All right. All right. Building. And looks like that's true. So one of the things, just by comparison with Go, I mean, you can see, so when I hit Command R, we can watch how long it takes to rebuild this. 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3 elephant, 4 elephant. It can't still be running. Oh, it's not. I wanted it to rebuild. How can I get it to I think that was Command Shift I. Yeah, there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you know, 6, 7 seconds, depending on what you feel about my my cadence there, but a couple of seconds, right? The cool thing about Go, or one thing that I enjoyed, which this, honestly, that's not that bad, but it's a lot longer than if you were to compile something like this in Go. I mean, it's lightning fast. That's why that Jupyter Notebook thing is so cool. And that's one of Go's major selling points, by the way. It's not the end all be all, but just want to point it out because I brought it up earlier. But that's how that Jupyter Notebook thing is able to work with a compiled language like Go. It's literally compiling in the background, but it compiles so fast, it just kind of seems like, you know, Go's compiler compiles so fast, it seems like it's dynamic, like JavaScript or Python, but it's not. So that's pretty sick. But that's another thing that you know, that may or may not affect you all that much, depending on what you're doing. In terms of if you're compiling often, you know, that 6, 7 seconds, and we don't really have much of an app yet, right? Just 2 files and not a ton of code. Not even 100 lines, is it? Yeah, not even 100 lines of code, and it takes, you know, that long to build. If that maintains as your app scales, then, you know, I wouldn't be mad at that. But if it's going to scale with the size of your app in terms of how much code, you know, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so now it's time to put the argument parser to work for you by declaring the arguments that you want to parse. Declaring arguments for argument parser to parse. Argument parser uses property wrappers to implement. Hold on, I need a bite of this banana. All right, sorry about that. Argument parser uses property wrappers to implement its parsing behaviors on your behalf. I should probably just chew this first. Hold on. Towel over it so I didn't pull my beard hair, but I need to go to a Best Buy or something, get a little windsock. But okay, anyway, where were we? Argument parser uses property wrappers to implement its parsing behaviors on your behalf. When you want to identify an argument or option for argument parser to look for at the command line, you select and configure the appropriate property wrapper and use it to declare a property of your parsable command conforming type. The first argument that you will parse is template. To let the user provide the template string for you to match, add the following property declaration to word lasso. Okay. So we've seen this at indicator before, but not often. I think we saw it once before at argument, or maybe twice. But what is it? It's and the following property declaration. Okay. So help colon. And so I guess this is string literals. Yeah, string level. Okay. Oh no, that's right. So you can, the triple quotes let you do multi-line text or template. I think you have to, you can't put it on the same line, I believe. Get an error. Yeah, so you just got to keep it on its own line. But other than that, you can put whatever you want in the body. And the cool thing about it that we learned is that on the output, Swift will actually maintain your indentation, so you can format it in your code, and that's how it'll be represented. That's pretty fucking sick because that's been a big pain point in the past, particularly with Go. That was not very fun, parsing HTML, but not the end of the world. Word finder, wildcard. Okay, so we're saying the word template to match with, and insert the wildcard character, which is a period, as placeholders. Why would they put that there? Oh, I see. Okay, literally like that. All right, placeholders. Yeah, there's not many, but there are some rules like that, like the quotes and apparently the escape character too. You can't leave it with the trailing character after, or the compiler will complain, leaving this blank. Will, oops, enter interactive mode. Oh, okay, I see. Defining the help message. The word template to match with. Okay. Var template. So a property named template, and it'll be an optional string, just meaning this is how Swift handles nil or nothing. So the question mark says it's an optional type string, meaning it can be nil or a string, one or the other. Okay. The @argument property wrapper is used to declare a property that will store the primary argument to the program. In a moment, you will use other property wrappers to declare properties that argument parser will store your program's options into. You will use other property wrappers. Okay. Well, I want to see what that's. I wonder if I can GD on this. GD. Oops. GD. Oh, that is so sick. If I can't. I need to check something real quick. Maybe the Oracle can tell me. In Xcode, if I am using Vim shortcuts and oops. So if you use the Vim shortcuts, the really cool thing, I'll just explain what I'm asking real quick, because it'll be a big time saver if it works that way. But so we were in main, right? And I know that @argument is a property wrapper because they just told us that. But I want to see the implementation of it, like the details. So I want to see the definition. So you can hit whenever you're in not in insert mode. I guess this is normal mode. I don't know what they call it. Not the insert mode, not the visual select mode, just the regular mode. So if you put your cursor on it, go to it and then hit GD, it stands for go to definition. So it takes you to where the property wrapper is defined, which is awesome. You don't have to go clicking around, open up stuff. But I'm wondering if there is a Likewise, if there's a command to go back to where you were. I'm using shortcuts in GD. Is there a command I can use to return to the location I GD'd from? Sick, brother. O for previous, Control I for forward. Really? So I have to use GD. That is awesome. Okay, let me see if it works. Control O. Lies. No, we'll see. Let me go back. Okay, GD. Control O. Fuck all. What is it? Commando? Oh, that's open. Lame. Control. Oh well, I'll look later. Even still, the fact that it hopefully exists, or maybe exists. Definition. They list some of the commands, which is really helpful at the bottom, but oh well. Yeah, I'll check on that later. So yeah, okay, so where are we at? I wanted to see the argument. So this is really just as a reminder of what we did, because I know we learned these. I don't remember a ton in terms of what the hell it did. You can call this program with just a name. Oh, no. Property wrapper, public struct, argument. So this is a generic. Decodable. And it conforms to these two protocols. Parse value. That doesn't tell me much. Yeah, I really don't remember a ton about those, so maybe I'm just gonna do a quick refresher. Otherwise, I won't know what the hell they're talking about. Property wrappers. Here we go. Oh, good. Okay, property wrappers. Manipulating data as it is stored into or retrieved from a property is a common task in programming. Manipulating data as it is stored into or retrieved from. Okay. In chapter 20, you saw an implementation of a fuel level property. As fuel is added and used up, the fill percentage of a car's fuel tank changes, but it must always stay between 0 and 1. Oh, yeah, that's right. The thing, yeah, okay. I just don't remember the at thing. Use precondition. Okay, but what if you want your code to simply replace values less than 0 with 0 and values greater than 1 with 1? You can implement a computed property coupled with a private stored property, where the get and set blocks of the computed property change the stored property's data. Okay, but that's not the property wrapper, right? It is not. Okay, you will learn to use the property wrapper to define a reusable abstraction for manipulating data coming into and out of your properties. Okay, so in a sense, that's really the main thing to understand. It's just a reusable abstraction for manipulating data coming into and out of your properties inside of your type. So in that case, that would be, you know, template or matches, that kind of a thing. Well, not in a function though, but here that would apply since this is a struct, and so this is a property. Okay, 200. Yeah. Preparing your playground. Ah, that's right. We did it in a playground. But this looks struct car. And nothing special there in real life. Blah, 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 blah. But where do we call? Okay, here we go. Okay, that looks like a good example. So let me pull that one out. Just throw it down here. I'll get an error, but that's okay. We're just looking at it. All right, so this is a property wrapper. Public struct percentage. Okay, so it's defined with the at there. So name it. All this looks normal. Public init, wrap value, public var, double set storage equal. Okay, I do remember this example now. So just a generic way to handle like in this case, we could use this anywhere there's, or in any scenario where there's a concept of like big bucket, little bucket, kind of like the example of the vault and the assets within. So let's see. When you declare a data structure as a property wrapper, that type can then be used with the @ symbol as a custom attribute. Then when you declare a property using a property wrapper attribute, such as @%, the compiler rewrites your property declaration to use an instance of the wrapper type to handle the storage and transform its value. Okay, in this case, the compiler takes your fuel level property declaration and rewrites it at compile time. Oh, okay, so let me put this up because this is probably a better insight into what's happening. The level. Okay, so we give it this after we've defined it, of course. So @%, we put it ahead of the property. And then the compiler interprets that as, oh, get rid of that, as this. So what did it do? We just said, here's the wrapper, here's the name of a variable, here's the type and the default value. And the compiler sees it as, it maintains the privacy, the mutability. The underbar is just to indicate, it's just a convention. There's no syntactical value or meaning there. But the semantic meaning is that this is a private, it's an implementation detail of whatever the thing is that you're looking. So it's not meant to be used or accessed directly per the book at some point told us that. And then it's rewriting this, so percentage wrapped value 1, which would be this thing's implementation. Okay, so it's saying this is an instance of that type property with a wrapped value of 1. As said here, okay. Yeah, that's really strange. I must slept through this one because this is not my favorite thing looking at it. So this is somehow weird. Var fuel level type double, but within it there's a getter. So if we read fuel level, this is what we get back. So we'll get back the fuel level wrapped value, which is whatever we pass in. And then if we set it, it uses this fuel value equal new value. I mean, okay, I get what it's doing, but it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem too familiar, but let's see what else it says. So first, the compiler synthesizes storage for an instance of percentage. Okay, so these are truly separate. It just, I wonder if it doesn't matter if I split this up. Oh, it's because of this. Yeah, I want to see it without the errors. So, okay, you can. So that's, I guess, just more convention because it applies to it. So it indented it maybe. But either way, okay. So these are separate things. Now it makes a lot more sense. All right. So private var. Okay. And then the variable fuel level, the non-private, no underbar. Same type, double, because that's what that is. So that makes sense. And then we have our logic here for getter and setter, depending on the interaction. Yeah, okay, never mind. That does make sense to me. In line with how they described it. So just a way to morph and or process the data coming in or out. So either on write or on read, doing something to the value, meaning you're not just taking it straight from the user's input or the output from another function and just taking it as is. I mean, I could see that if you wanted to, like, maybe let the user punch in single digits and then like scale something for them through some kind of interface, or maybe if they're like using a sales tool where, you know, 1 unit equals 1,000, you know, for purposes of scaling, stuff like that. But all right, so wait, is this the right page? 7. Yeah. Okay. All right, adding a template. We did this part, var template string. The @argument property wrapper is used to declare a property that will store the primary argument to the program. In a moment, you will use the other property wrappers to declare properties that argument parser will store your program's options into. All argument parser property wrappers take a help argument to their initializer that is used to auto-generate your tool's documentation. Nice. Refer back to chapter 7 if you need a refresher on using multi-line strings. This one uses an escape sequence that you've not seen before. A backslash followed by only white space at the end of the line. Right, that's where we got tripped up here, line 6. And this instructs Swift not to hard wrap the string at this location, but to pretend that the string is not broken. Not to hard wrap, what? But to pretend that the string is not broken. Okay. Update your run function to use this template property instead of pulling the template out of the command line enum. All right. So we want to get rid of the if args let. If args count 1. Yeah, that's the one. And if let template equal template. Find and print matches for template using word finder. Okay, so we remove the if the argument count greater than 1, then let the template be equal to index 1 of the args array, since we know that would be the template. The first one would be the file path. But instead now we're doing if let template equal template. Wait, why is that? Update your run function to use this template property instead of pulling the template. Oh, right, because now we're accepting the input. Okay. All right. Build your program and option drag it to your desktop again. Run it from a terminal session to check its documentation. Bro, this didn't work for me last time, but I'll try it again. So build. Yeah, I should see it here, but unfortunately. But I ended up finding it in some odd place. Build a program option, drag it to desktop. Run it from a terminal session to check its documentation. Let's see. Settings. It's got to be up in here. Command line tools, archives. Okay, there's nothing there. Setting here, localization. Well, I'll just do it the hard way then. So then it was in debug, I think. Finder. And iCloud. $11.56. All right, take that to the desktop. Replace. All right. From internal session. Word lasso. Options, each help, show help info. Okay. This output was auto-generated for you by argument parser's inspection of word lasso type and its properties. Oh wait, it didn't work. That's not, or I didn't get the same thing. Word lasso template. I should have got the arguments listed. Okay. Yeah, that must not be. Guess I don't have a choice. I'm gonna have to. That was 1224. This one shows not that. And fuck me, this never mind, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it. Okay, so how can I troubleshoot my X code? I am building project, but I do not see the executable. See the executable. What I really want is it to be just there in the navigator like it was in the book. See, I do not see the executable in the project navigator. Derive data. Okay, ensure that the build target is correct. Let's see. The scheme near the play. What do you mean? What fucking target? It's not very indicative of anything. So let's just go to the next one. Fuck me. File, project settings, derive data. Did this. That's how I found the debug thing, but we will look again. Settings. I wonder if this is because it's an iCloud drive probably doesn't like that. How about just here then, brother? X's. Have derived. There, now it'll be obvious. Let's see if it works. Actually, let's do... Wait, no, damn it. That's not what I wanted. There we go. All right. Now we build. Still no? God damn it, man. Okay, what's next? Locate the executable manually. You can manually locate the executable in the Finder. Product. Oh, go to products in the project navigator, right click your app. Debug navigator, breakpoint navigator, report navigator. I don't know, man. It's not fucking here. Why not? Is it hidden? It sucks arse. Well, I don't know about in the navigator, but maybe here. Build for... Maybe this is why? Command Shift R. Okay, I'll try that. It's fucking going somewhere. I mean, clean the build. Sometimes cleaning the build can resolve issues. Go to product, clean build folder. Shift Command K. Okay. Are you sure you want to clean the build folder? This will delete all the products and intermediate files. And do it, brother. Build again. Nope. Ensure the expert is building correctly. Target setting. Anyway, you can see why I was harping on the build tools and the... Because, I mean, this part is a pain in the ass. I mean, this could totally be user error. It's my first time using it. So I'm not condemning Swift by any stretch, but I'm just saying this is the kind of fuckery. So I'm just going to look through every single one of these. Where is build? I guess it would be... It'd have to be in product. Maybe this is what I need. Show build folder in Finder. That's definitely what I need. Ah, here we go. Oops. There it is. What's it doing in here? Talking about data drive folders where it goes. Bullshit. That's not what I picked. Goddamn AI. All right. So, all right. Let's see if... Get me here. I just want to save. Did it say? Okay, good. I'm just going to throw this on the board in case I forget. Delete it, bro. Oh, here we go. Good old sticky note. Oh, yeah. What can I? Oh, it's yellow. Yellow on yellow. It's a good idea. So I don't forget. This is my build folder. On. Okay. Now I would like to fix that. Where was I? Import scheme. It's got to be in the settings, maybe project settings. Maybe that differs. Drive data default. Let's see. Locations. Yeah, I don't know where that build. Volumes, Graydog, dev drive data. It must have been, yeah, it must have been because I was sending it to iCloud, and iCloud, I guess, doesn't allow executables to get synced, which that's probably not a terrible idea, but it's here now, and it is going to the disk I chose, so okay, but it's still not showing up in my navigator, which is annoying, but oh well. All right, so let me back in there, brother. Here, option drag. Place. All right, now let's see. What's called? Word lasso. And we passed it a help flag. What was it? Yeah. Help. There we go. All right. Hot dog. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, that's definitely programming. I mean, most of the time, the troubleshooting effort, what's the the reward on the other side once it starts working, generally is like it's not what am I trying to say? It's never going to match the frustration of having to troubleshoot, because really that's not to say that people shouldn't have to configure anything, but a lot of time it's just kind of wonky shit like that. But yes, generally speaking, you just have to have a tolerance for that kind of stuff, because shit's always changing. It never ends. So you really do have to have an appetite for that kind of continuous learning. If you're someone that doesn't invite change, really, you'd probably be miserable as a programmer. Even if you can manage all the details and the nuance, you still probably wouldn't enjoy it very much. You see that a lot. All right, anyway, this output was auto-generated for you by arguments parser's inspection of the word lasso type and its properties. Notice that an option to print the tools documentation is built in with both a long form and a short form, as you saw with the Xcode select utility at the beginning of this chapter. Word lasso. Okay, now try it with a template. All right. Hold on. Try with a template. Oops. Rank dot. Yeah, brother. So we got command line arguments, the program, and then the template. So implicitly it's given us that first path, which is the path to the program that we ran. And then here's our template. Found 2 matches in that giant ass file we looked at yesterday, and those are the matches. Cool. So what about options? Argument parser has those also. An option that does not need an argument of its own, like -L for the ls command, is also called a flag. Yeah. An option that does not need an argument of its own. Oh, right. So it's just behavioral. They're talking about like ls-l. So ls is to check the contents of the directory that you're in. If you just throw it that way at the command line. And then ls.l puts it into a straight top-down list with more detail. No headers though. That's why I wanted to use that exit tool, but it doesn't matter. But that's the general. So they're saying this is a flag because it doesn't also require like some value, like a directory name after the fact. What about option? Declare a flag to let the user enable case insensitive matching. Case insensitive matching. Okay. So now we are going to the struct again. Var template string. Okay, so beneath that we have another, what did we call a property wrapper? And we're gonna name it flag. Name, short and long. Help. Perform case insensitive. Insensitive, is that spelled right? Yeah. Matches. And var ignore case bool false. Oh, no. I don't know what that is. Just regular old false. Okay, so at flag, name, and help. Not really sinking in still, but we'll get there. Kindle. Here you declare a flag using @flag property wrapper, which takes a name argument of type argument parser. Which takes a name argument of type argument parser dot name specification. So, okay, so that means, oops, so I can GD this too. Yeah, there it is. Okay, public static var, short and long, conforms to name specification, or is type name specification, and that's this generic here. With the trailing closure, and it's either, oh, long, short. Okay. What is this doing? It creates the argument name for this specification element. For key, name, switch. Holy hell. So this is naming or creating the argument for us using this generic, and we just plug in the name of it. That's what it sounds like, which is awesome. Okay, short and long. Okay. Here you declare a flag using the flag property wrapper, which takes a name argument of type argument parser dot name specification. which we don't see that, but we can see that if we go to the definition. And the help argument to describe its usage to the user. While the primary argument of your program comes at the end of the command and is unnamed, options and flags have names. While the primary argument comes from the comes at the end of the command and is unnamed. Oh, meaning the template. Okay. Right, okay, I see what they mean. Because we don't... instead of... So we type this with no parameter name, we just type the template. But they're saying with flags, you would do something like... so whatever the name is, space, and then the value, which would be the argument for that parameter. All right, so... while the primary argument of your program comes at the end of the command and is unnamed, options and flags have names. Sometimes the names are short, like dash H, and sometimes they are long, like dash help. Passing the value short and long indicates that you want both. Oh, both options, dash H and okay. And that argument parser. Oh, wait. Pardon me, kindly. Indicates you want both, and the argument parser should infer their names from the property name. It should infer their names from the property name. Okay. Wait. Inferred. Argument parsers inferred names default to the first letter for the short form and a hyphen separated lowercase spelling for the long form. The result is that your program now has a new flag, which can be passed as -i or -ignore -case. Coming from where, though? Where do you ignore case? Did we define that somewhere? Oh, we did. Okay. Okay, cool. Ignore case. Or just I. Okay, I see. When this new flag is included in the options list, when word lasso is executed, ignore case will be true. Oh, so okay, so we just gotta just -i alone would make it so nothing after and just defaults to true. Unknown option. Oh, right, I didn't need that in there. Okay, this should work. -i. Oh, no, we didn't build it yet. Just kidding. Okay, so passing the value short and long indicates that you want both and that the argument parser should infer their names from the property name. The result is that your program now has a new flag, which can be passed as -i or ignore case. When this new flag is included in the options list, when word lasso is executed, ignore case will be true. Update run to use your new flag. All right. Where is it? Oh, it's in main. Ugh, try not to yawn. All right, so the throw here, true, using let word finder. Where are you at? There you are. Okay, so now we will. Oh, I got you. Okay, so just ignore case. parameter now just takes ignore case. Interesting. Since this has it defaulting to false. Now add one more declaration. An option to let the user specify a words list other than the default. Okay. We're at var ignore case. And why am I? Hold on. I need to wash my hands. What is up? I think I left soap on them. Hold on one sec. Too clean, Brett. Or not clean enough. Not rinsing. All right. Hopefully that solves that problem there, guy. Okay, we were writing another property wrapper. Option. Name. Well, hold on. Before we move on, I'm not really... I'm just going to copy this and then ask the Oracle to give me one of their great little breakdowns because, yeah, I just need to be able to visualize what's cracking, but it's not sinking into the old noggin here. Given the below. Actually, I don't need to even give it the... context of Swift. Please break down the use case and examples of property wrappers. All right, property wrappers in Swift provide a powerful way to encapsulate common property behaviors, making code more reusable and easier to read. They allow you to define a wrapper around a property to modify its behavior. Here's a breakdown of their use case and some example to illustrate. Okay, use cases, data validation. Okay, that's a good one. Ensuring that a property value meets certain criteria. So I guess, okay, in contrast to something like a precondition where you would not want to change the input at all, but just fail if it didn't agree with, whatever the program required. I suppose this could be seen on the opposite end if you wanted to accept all input and just transform data that didn't conform to whatever format. Okay. Lazy initialization, deferring the creation of an expensive resource until it's actually needed. Yeah. That's always a double-edged sword. Thread safety, managing access to properties in a multi-threaded environment. Never had to deal with that. Sounds complicated. Default values, providing default values for properties. Okay, that's another good one that I'll definitely use. Logging and debugging. Oh yeah, another good one. Caching. Storing expensive to compute values that can be reused. Hot dog. Okay. So data validation. What's happening? So yeah, but okay, hold on. Where are you defining? Defining them or using them? I think I know, but I want it to show me it's definitely not defining them. Yeah, please. Okay, defining property wrappers. Defining a property wrapper involves creating a custom struct or class. Okay, struct or class with property wrapper. Clamped. So you name it and then define. Oh, but we're not, I guess in. Oh, right. Okay, my bad. User error. That was the definition, but here we're just using property wrappers that the repo already provided. That's why. Okay. Because if we do option echo GD, yeah, okay. Okay. So it's just a struct. No different than any other. I mean, all of this other stuff, I understand what's happening, but so I guess it's just the declaration, the fact that, so property wrapper. Okay, so it's always, I thought that was just a generic name, but that is the declaration, and then you put it right above the struct of the class. That's what it looks like. Okay. Yeah, I must have definitely slept through those examples because that didn't trigger at all. Okay. Now let's look at the examples because now that that's making sense. Using a property wrapper involves declaring a property with the @wrapper name attribute in a structure class. Okay. Yeah, so similar. I mean, it's another version of inheritance, I suppose. Similar to how extensions or protocols can add functionality to a type. This does that for variables, it looks like. But I guess the thing the value passing. Let me see what that is all about defining a property wrapper. I want it to be more explicit on this. Syntax rules of this. Okay, good. So that's literally it. Here, and then ahead of the variable. Example.property new value let value. Oh, you can call that on anything. This is what I was thinking of, projected values. This was really cool. If the wrapper has a projected value, you can access it with that. Okay, that makes sense. So now I just want to understand the there was an example where we were passing something to it. I think it's in the code actually. Not here. It's just kind of throwing me because I guess we're just literally giving the value to it. So if we go look, this would be a good example because this one we're calling the wrapper, but this is, oh right, I think it'll error if I put a space here, right? No, are you stuck on this one? I think we saw that earlier. No, it didn't seem to matter. Yeah, okay, wait. Let me go ask it then. So struct, it's the definition. And then there's the usage of that same one just ahead of the. Okay, so you would see it in two. You'll have your property wrapper definition somewhere, and then its use will be represented with just this declaration ahead of the variable inside your types. But what is, okay, so it's really just this that I want it to explain. Explain what is happening with the tuple following no, damn it. This thing has its own use for that. Okay, when you see at clamped with these arguments, you might think it's a tuple, but it's actually a way to pass arguments to the property wrapper's initializer. Oh, okay. That's what's happening. Passing it to the initializer. Now that makes sense. Okay, yeah, okay. So here, yeah, here's the definition. The initializer, so there's wrapped value. And range, which are properties of the wrapper. So that makes sense. Okay, so since we're wrapping the thing, okay, wait, but then, okay, so that makes sense. Makes sense, but when we used it for value comparable, so I suppose regardless of value range, self value, private let, guess I'm just wondering where are those properties being stored then in relation to the thing? Like if we where the usage? I think it's further up. Yeah, so okay, so if we use it here, 0 through 10, and this is of type integer, is it adding those properties of clamped? Or what's cracking? Like, what is that? Okay, so that's why I need to ask it. Because this has value and range, but we're wrapping it around a single variable. So for our example, we go example, so that's an instance of it. Score 15. Print example score. Wait, see, pass it 15, print example score, output 10. And then back to clamped. And then on the initializer. So a value of 15 in a range between 0 and 10, it would set the value, so the highest value between the wrapped value, 15, and the lower bound. So it's going to take the higher one, which would be 15, but then you also take the minimum between 15 and the upper bound, which would be 10, and so value is 10. And the range is 0 through 10. I guess because there's no explicit return, maybe that's what's throwing me here, but I think I'm getting there. Okay, so then when we use it, and then print it, it gets processed through that, and that's why the output is 10 here, because we do example.score. So it's not accessing those properties, the value and the range. It's just taking the input, applying it, and then whatever the output is the score. It's still a singular value. Okay, that does make sense to me now. It just looks funky because that's I mean, normally I would use a function for that. So let me ask could you achieve the same result using a function? Or in Swift. Oh God, okay, func clamp. This would be a generic, so any type that compare or conforms to the comparable protocol. Anonymous parameter. Name value, it just needs to be the same type that you pass in, which it would be. So those will align. To range, give it the range. And the value that gets passed into close range would also have to be of the same type, which they all would be. It could be an integer. It should also return an integer. Okay. And then in the struct, now we have close range int. Range, closed range. Well, wait. But private let range close. Where do we name that? Oh, clamp comparable. Let's see what it says. Using a computed property with custom getter setter. You can use a computed property with custom getter setter methods to encapsulate the clamping logic in the struct itself. Okay. Var score. Here's the getter. And then when we set it, oh, that's way better. Oh, that's way better. I guess okay, so yeah, okay. I suppose the downside is if you're going to be, I mean, that, and I guess that applies to a lot of things, but if you're going to be using this in many places, I suppose that's when it would make sense. Otherwise, you risk having to, well, one, you might make a mistake. So you might fuck that up in a way that compiles, but logically there's an error, something like that. Or you just end up being stuck with many places to maintain this logic right here when you could have just had it in a wrapper and just have one spot to update as opposed to, you know, many places where you would write this same logic. So, okay. It's all kind of coming back. Okay. I feel better about it. Although I do think I will, man, that's a lot of, does it copy the whole thing or just the section? Maybe I'll just save the link here instead. It's a big ass thread, but it was helpful. Create link. I'll just save that on the board. Copy, really. Make this chat discoverable. Yeah, that's what we fucking need. People exposing their conversations with the AI on the internet. Bad enough that it exists, brother. God damn. Yeah, okay, so yeah. Let's all share the output from a non-deterministic LLM. Let's do that. I want to be part of that. All right, so this would be property. Oh, yep, good enough. And now we go back. All right, so that makes better sense now. Where were we? We're writing it some option thingamabob, yeah. Under flag. Here's flag. False. Ignore case. Yeah, okay, here. At option. Name custom long. Word file. Comma. I think that's one word, so I'm gonna leave it one word. Path to a new line. Delimited word list. And var word list path. Oops. Word list path of type string. Goddamn. String. Equal. And this is the path to that big ass file of words that we saw. So a and then func run through. Okay, that looks right. Can you guess the usage of this option? The usage name custom long. I'm gonna guess it lets you provide your own path to your own file if it's not the default. Unlike a flag, an option property is parsed with an accompanying value. For example, your wordless path option could be passed as -- word - file path to list. If no wordless path is specified, the value will default to the default file we're using. It would be illegal usage of the tool to pass -- word file without also passing a string after it, in which case the program would exit and log its usage documentation. Okay. Ensure that run uses the provided word list if there is one. All right. Okay, get rid of the thing I just wrote. Got it. Get rid of that. And now we want let word big F finder oh wait, no, we don't want anything there. But we do want to get rid of path or word list path. Okay, because we'll have that previous. Okay. User share words. Okay. Build your program again. All right, Command B. And back to the desktop. All right. macOS is so fucking goofy, dude. Why didn't... All right, there we go. Okay. Now, how do you see? I hate the fact there's not just a bar where you can just put the file path. It's so... I think it's Command Shift G. Yeah. All right. Option drag. Place. And what do you want me to do? Build your program again and export it to your desktop. Play with Word Lasso in your terminal session. Word lasso. Build your program, play with it, and try different combinations of your flags and options. Okay, what was the other one? It would be illegal. No, not that. What's the one we just added? Oh yeah, dash I. So dash I. I know it had a big wolf and little wolf, so I wonder if it'll... Weird, so I guess, okay, it's not enforcing the order, at least not as far as the template versus the... I'm trying to do, oh, there we go, dot F. Can I do that? You can. Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter with that flag, but with an option it would. So what was the option? I guess we can check our dash dash help. Word lasso help. Options. Oh, sweet. Word file, path to a new line delimited. Wordless. User. I did not mean to do that. Okay, can we do what's micro test.txt he, she, me, tree, free. Command S. Q, is it? Yeah. All right, so now word lasso. Word file and current directory test txt. And H dot. It did it. Cool. All right, so it works. Time to get to selling. No, I'm playing, but I got this new app, guys. It's coming out hot. All right, so option name, custom word file, help, and word. It's a new flag. Oh, we stepped through that though. Okay. So it told me to play around with it. I played around with it. Try different combos, proper names. As a Swift developer, you are now equipped to write tools that can be used at the command line to automate tasks on your Mac. You should be proud of this milestone. And I am. In this next chapter, you will dip your toe into the waters of iOS app development. Oh, shit. Cool. All right, then what have we been at? About 2 hours. Yeah, I think it's a good stopping point. Although I am excited to start this, but it ain't going to get much more opportunistic than that. And this will be a whole different bag, I'm sure. So, and what's cool is this will actually, I didn't know that it did, but it's going to end the book on SwiftUI, and that's our next major course that we're going to roll into. So we'll get a taste of it, and then we'll get to do the deep dive. So works out perfectly to me. So that being said, thank you guys for joining. That's going to bring the stream to an end today, brother. I will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. per usual. Well, a little later than 11 a.m., but somewhere around that point, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you come back. Please do subscribe or whatever is applicable on the platform you're consuming this on. And also, if you're into gaming, or if you just like me a lot, I also stream 9 p.m. Central Standard Time every day, playing Halo Infinite, effing them boys up. I'm at Diamond 2 now. My goal is to get to Onyx by the end of the 100 days, which at this point is, I think today is day 70. So I should have plenty of time, but it's been a fun ride. So come check that out, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're into it, otherwise take care of yourself and go eat something. Eat it. Don't starve all day and then eat shit at night. All right, go eat something nice. Take a nap, do some push-ups. You know the drill. Thanks, guys.